if you are new here, I'm Kaniti, and if you're already watching this channel, welcome back. Today we are going to watch 22nd episode of anime Steins, so let's get to it. Let's go. Alright. Being meltdown. Okay, that was that was it before the intro. Alright, we'll see what this episode has. So we have very little left. It's 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, and as far as I understood from the comment, episode 25 that I also have is kind of one. I got a comment that it is like an OVA, and also I think I got a comment that it's kind of what happened after the finale, but not considered canon fully. And also, yeah, I was recommended that after this I could watch Steins Gate Zero. Which is kind of an alternative timeline. So as I noticed before, yeah, this is based on a visual novel. So obviously in a visual novel you have several endings. So here in the anime we'll have the what's considered the true ending, but in Steins Gate Zero we'll get an alternative ending. Also, I'm gonna look in at the opening right now to see if there is some kind of metaphors here. I also there is this dead cicada, I think, this dead insects that I think were shown at the same time when there was a theme of death of Mayushi, and the butterfly obviously represents the butterfly effect. That's true. She's thinking about what he said about that discussion. That she's going to die if they go to that world line. Okay. Well, stop staring. Neocortex. Interesting. That's a pretty cool thread, though. Wow, she has it on her at all times. Holy crap. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do it even with all the lights on. Okay. I guess this here we have kind of their bonding moment. But we had a lot throughout the episodes. A lot of bonding moments for them. Oh, he was worried. Well, to be fair, he's more stick figure than her. Is it pink? Yeah, in the end of the previous episode, she did come. So she also remembered it as a dream. Like Mayu, she also remembered everything as dreams. Could she possibly remember, like, who did that? So she feels like she lacks that person who would care so much for her. Like she doesn't have anything like that in her life, like the two of them have. I mean, of course, she's also his friend, and he also got attached to her. The third world line. And even in that future where she was considered a mother of the time machine, Suzu said that in that future they both were already dead, her and Ocarine, I think. Didn't she? So she would have died anyway, just later. Yeah, and she'll feel the pain also once again and have more bad dreams, so to say, as we saw in the previous episode. I think you could also kind of become desynthesized to it. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. Like, even you become accustomed to it. Yeah, you don't feel anything anymore. But as we saw in the previous episode, she does feel it every time. Yeah, they spent a lot of time together. They really grew closer. He even spent more time with her than with Mayushi, right? In the span of this anime. So I assume in the true ending we just go back to how it all was before we sent any emails, where she would be stopped. Yeah, that's what I thought. Like, are there like parallel worlds? So the person died in one but continues living in another. But then it seemed more like, yeah, this is all the same world. And all the lines are within this single world. But I think she's just trying to motivate him and be positive. He even said most. Well, there were a lot of kind of romantic bonding moments, you could say, between them. But I thought he was going to choose Mayushi here. But if they're confessing love to each other, would he really? He even said the most. Like, he cares about her more than he cares about Mayushi, then wouldn't he choose Kurisu if she's the one he loves and cares about the most, right? So it seems more like I'm sorry, I'm not good with romantic moments and kisses. It's more like we had a storyline of Kurisu in this anime. We spend most time with her. He confessed to her. She is very sweet. Okay, now I'm curious about the ending and the choice here. Okay, we still have a bit of time in this episode. Let's see. She's live in Japan. That's Dr. Pepper that he likes. She left so fast. It's like she disappeared. Like there's still some way to these doors. She must have ran very fast. So so she's talking like they are going to go to the better world line. Why is she leaving then? Hmm. I thought the fact that they kissed was kind of confirming that they're feeling some mutual. But it seems like she didn't go on the plane to come back and tell him that she loves him too. She's like, Mayushi is okay, like like she knew. Okay, I have a lot of things to say. First of all, let's start with what he said in the very end. So he said, like, leaving should not have any do-overs. Yeah, that's the idea that I was kind of expecting, that we are going back to that initial world line, let's say, right? How everything was supposed to happen from the very beginning, and then because we messed with it, because we tried to change something, and mess with the time and world lines, that's where everything went wrong, and that's how we ended up in a dystopian future in the future, and that's how maybe the destinies of people have changed, and so Kurisu has survived, but in return Mayushi has died. Did the ending change a little? Or maybe I just didn't pay attention to it previous times. I just didn't notice how it glitched a little. Hello? Wait, there's something additional? Who's this? Daru received a call from Suzuha, and Suzuha wants to talk to Ocarine. Well, what? World War 3? Okay, now I have some more things to talk about. Like, if he goes back to that better world line, oh my god, then there's no dystopian future with that CERN regime, but there's World War 3. So it's either this or that. There's no good future for us. But as I said, maybe there's a third world line, maybe there's some other options. Okay, that was very interesting, and that was episode 22, though there's still two more to go. And as I understood again from the comments, like I didn't get any spoilers, but as I understood, the episode 23 is like the one where we make the choice. But here in the episode 22, he did make a choice, and it was a bit confusing to me because, yeah, I admit throughout this episode it looked more like Kurisa's romantic line, right? When I don't know, like I played a lot of romantic visual novels, all right? So you kind of choose at some point, you make some choices that lead you to a story of a certain girl, right? So here it looked more like he had more of these events time spent with Kurisa. So it was more like her line, since he didn't spend a lot of time with Mayushi. But maybe this visual novel like no romantic line is like a subplot, so it's not that important. I'm not sure, but here it made it seem like he did have romantic feelings for Kurisu in any case. He fell in love with her in any case. And as for Mayushi, she was always very dear to him, but not in a romantic sense, more like he felt like a sister, maybe something like that, like a little sister. But the ages are not very different, right? But still, like someone he loves a lot and he cares deeply for, but just doesn't have any romantic feelings for. While Kurise became a person that he is romantically interested in, and so he kind of had to make that choice if he chooses one or another, like the person that he loves romantically or the person that he cares a lot but not romantically, and that would be the choice, because I expected that there would be like Mayushi's romantic line where he chooses Mayushi because she's the one he cares for the most, and in the Kurisa's romantic line where he chooses her. Maybe there could also be like Moeka's line that would maybe end earlier or in a different way. I don't know how many endings this visual novel has, but I feel like Moeka and Suzuha could also have their own endings. That would be logical in my opinion, but obviously when we are talking about like the true ending, I was fully on expecting that he would choose to save Mayushi, because also here there was a lot of time spent thinking how to do it. We spent a lot of time and effort for this, and it was shown many times how much Ocarin cares about Mayushi. So I was like, okay, we are heading towards that. We are concentrated fully on Mayushi, but then when there was this confession scene, that's what made me feel confused, because for me it would be logical to end this in him choosing, no, like I fell in love with Kurisa, this is the person I care for the most, so I would do anything to save her, and I'll continue in this world line where she survives. Maybe that's just like my own opinion, because for example I played a game where there were also like there was a huge choice in the end. It was called Life is Strange. And so, spoilers for Life is Strange if you didn't play it, okay, you were warned. So, in the end, you're kind of understanding that the person you care for, that you saved a lot of times, your best friend, that she kind of has to die. That was her destiny from the very beginning, and you saving her, that's what created a lot of catastrophes, so to say, and the whole town basically is going to perish, maybe, or be destroyed at least, and there are probably going to be even more catastrophes and anomalies because you keep saving your best friend with your abilities. But the thing is, we also could have romantic lines throughout the game, and I kind of chose the romantic line with that best friend. Her name was Chloe, and as I always kind of integrate myself with the main character a lot, I really felt like I'm feeling these feelings, so I cared very much romantically for Chloe. And in the end, where there was a choice, like, are you choosing the person you love or this town? I was like, there's no choice. Of course, I'm choosing the person I love. Like, why would I care about all the other people when the person that kind of has my heart is right in front of me? I can't let her die. Of course, I'm choosing to save her again and again and again, right? So maybe it's just right, my own opinion that Ocarine kind of doesn't share, and he thought about it from kind of different angle, that yeah, he's in love with Kurise, but as he said, like in life there should be no do-overs, and that's like the initial world line, and it shouldn't have been changed, and it's the destiny, and he kind of should accept it, and maybe some other reasonings. So I guess that was the part that confused me in this episode. What else? Also, I didn't quite understand why she tried to live in Japan here. Like, if we are going back to that better world line, what would her leaving Japan in this moment change? Because we're going back to that line, she dies here in Japan anyway, even if she lives here in the future in this line, right? So I didn't quite understand what that scene was for, that she was leaving, and then she suddenly comes back to confess her feelings, and it looked like in that moment he regretted a bit his decision. But to me, again, that was a bit confusing because they kissed. I mean, he did confess his feelings and she agreed to kiss and everything, so it seemed to me like the feeling was mutual and it was pretty obvious, right? So maybe I just don't understand something about love and relationships, because honestly, some of the things, like here they're bickering and they're kind of being mean to each other, it's presented as a way of also kind of romantic development. So throughout the anime we see these romantic scenes are supposed to be romantic, because they're kind of shown in this way, and we also see Kurisa blush, but just I'm trying to interpret them as the anime wants me to do. So I accept them as romantic scenes and as them kind of growing closer together. But to me, again, honestly, there's nothing romantic about like bickering and being mean to each other and stuff like that. So personally, I wouldn't understand getting feelings from that. Yeah, he kind of showed that he cares a lot about his friends, that he worries about them, but if you still have that way of talking to each other, that's not very nice. I don't know, I wouldn't be able to feel anything romantic in that environment, you know. I'm just trying to separate my subjective opinion versus being objective about what anime is presenting to me. So yeah, I just wanted to express how I feel about that. So that's why I'm just not a huge fan of their romantic line. I thought he was much nicer to Mayushi and he was much sweeter with her, and I would honestly believe more in their romantic relationship developing and blossoming. Whereas with Kurisu, I don't really like this dynamic, but as I said, trying to be objective and seeing what the anime shows me, that's where I usually and go to build my theories from, right, from what anime is showing me. So everything that I said in the conclusion was based on these ideas of the anime, that they have developed this romantic feelings to each other, and the anime tried to show this throughout all the episodes. Okay, I feel like just my words are becoming a bit confusing, I'm afraid. Is there anything else that I wanted to say? I think I've covered everything, so now we came back basically, like in conclusion, we came back, we made the choice to go to that what we call better world line, but I would say kind of an initial world line, right? What was supposed to happen from the very beginning. But here we made a choice. We chose Mayushi. That was an interesting phrase from her, that I'm okay now, you can cry for yourself. Like, she also remembers everything. As we know, people do store these memories from different world lines, and they perceive them as dreams. But maybe Mayushi is more perceptive, and maybe after having so many of these dreams, even now she probably still has them as memories. She probably did gather kind of what actually happened. So it seemed to me, maybe I read that wrong, but that phrase had that atmosphere in it. Like, I know everything that happened. I know that you tried to save me. I'm okay now. Everything is fine. You can now cry for yourself because you lost the woman that you loved. That's what I saw from this phrase. Then Ocarine maybe regretted for a second when Kurisu ran back and tried to confess to him back, but he already pressed enter, so he felt that regret, and we could see that he was very, how to say it, emotionally unstable. He was close to tears, probably, judging by how he was talking and behaving. But in any case, we ended up in that, let's say, better world line. and everything had to be okay. He said, okay, we finished our operation, we beat the organization, CERN, everything. He got rid of the time machine, so everything had to be alright. But now, since there's no time machine, we are going back to the initial world line where World War III happens, and somehow Suzuha, again, our favorite time traveler, thinks that Ocarina is able to prevent it, and also, as we saw, he has all of his memories with him. So I assume in the next episode we'll meet Suzuha, and then maybe there will be some more choices to make regarding this. Another choice, like, am I choosing a dystopian future or World War III? Because it seems to me like there's no perfect choice, there's no third world line where everything is rainbows and roses and nothing bad happens. I think that's what anime is trying to relate to us, that there are always sacrifices, there's always something bad, and you can't choose something perfect. There's no perfect choice. You will always have to sacrifice something. You will always have something bad and something good in every option. Something like that. Okay. Okay, I think I've talked enough for this episode. It's just a lot has happened, especially in the end of the episode. A lot of things that kind of had me confused. So I would appreciate if you shared your thoughts on it, without spoilers, of course, in the comments. Like, maybe on this Kurisi and Ocarina relationship and on his choice, but only regarding like the episodes that I have already watched. I'm not talking about what's going to happen in the future in the 2 episodes that are left. So yeah, share your thoughts on this and anything in the comments down below. Thank you for watching, and see ya!